Before we start, I'd just like to quickly apologise for if the audio is not up to par because my microphone, I left it on and I was out of charge and I can't find any batteries. Even though I do have them, but yeah, I do apologise for that, so let's begin. Phantom Thread is written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, and it stars Daniel Day-Lewis, Vicky Krieps and Leslie Manville, and it tells the story of this very well-respected, highly regarded fashion designer called Reynolds Woodcock. One day he goes into the country and he meets this girl called Alma, played by Vicky Krieps, and they fall in love, and it's a very strange, twisted, dark, but also comic love story. And I really like this film. And you know, there are some people who really hate this film, and I can understand exactly why, because out of all the Best Picture nominees, this is by far the most pretentious one. This is by far the one where people are going to look at the trailer and be like, oh my god, I'm going to fall asleep watching this film. But I really like this type of film, and I think that Paul Thomas Anderson kills it with this film. He directs the shit out of it, and I do believe that he may have been the cinematographer as well, because, by the way, this is an incredibly well shot film. But Robert Elswit, who is his normal cinematographer, was busy doing other films, and so he basically worked with like the camera department and trying to find a look for this film that was right, and it was brilliant. And just the directing in general is amazing. I think that the Best Director nomination for him is very well deserved, and one of the things that I think he did very well here is have a nice balance of tone, because on the one hand this film is a very sort of dark and sort of ghost story type fairy tale, and on the other hand it's a very quirky, funny film. The humour here is surprisingly great, and in the hands of most filmmakers these two tones wouldn't mesh together very well, but Paul Thomas Anderson does a great job of making these two tones fit and making the film feel tonally consistent. We now of course have to talk about Daniel Day-Lewis, who apparently this is his last performance, and if it is his last performance, he goes out with a bang. I loved every minute of him on screen. He was so good, and he was just so captivating. In fact, the entire film is just so damn captivating. Every time I went to the toilet, every time I had to pause the film, all I could think about is how long is it going to be until I get to watch it, because I just, oh my god, I really, really, really love this film, because it really just sucks you into this world, and he's so immersed, and so much of that is due to Daniel Day-Lewis's just insane performance. All the little looks on his face, all the little details that many other actors can't do. And I really like that the character is sort of walking that fine line between deeply passionate and completely full of himself. And I think that any person who is an artist, or anyone who has sort of tried to express themselves in some way, will relate to the character of Reynolds. And he has these weird rules, and he doesn't want to be interrupted, and he's so like dedicated to his art, and he can sometimes be a huge dick, but it's because he's so damn dedicated to his art. And I just found that so interesting, and I think it's something that a lot of people can relate to. Also, Vicky Krieps, or I don't know how to pronounce her name, was brilliant in this film. A lot of people were saying that she deserves the Best Supporting Actress nomination. I disagree. I think that this is a leading performance. She deserves a Best Actress nomination, and there aren't many actors who can hold their own against Daniel Day-Lewis, okay? And she does such a great job here, and her character was such a nice contrast to Daniel Day-Lewis's character, because on the surface, Alma is a normal person, and so when you see these two sort of ideals conflicting, it's just very, very fun to watch. Also, Leslie Manville, who is nominated for Best Supporting Actress, is also incredible. Obviously, Alison Janney is the favourite, but I would not be surprised if she pulls a Mark Rylance and wins out of nowhere, because of course, you know, the Oscars kind of love this type of film. I do have one or two issues with Phantom Thread. The first one being that there's this twist that happens at the end, and a lot of people were talking about it on YouTube, and when I was watching it, I didn't really get the twist. I didn't really I didn't understand it. And after watching some ending explain videos and stuff, I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. So maybe that was just me, and in fact, it probably was just me, and I'll concentrate on it a little bit more next time I watch it. And by the way, this is a film that rewards you the more you watch it, because there's just so many little details and so many little things, you just get more and more every time you watch it. But I feel like that plot twist could have been sort of revealed with a bit more clarity. And also, the film is 2 hours and 9 minutes in length, and even though I was just so captivated by the performances and by the directing and by every single scene, and you know, it was just so magical, there were one or two moments that I feel could have been cut down, because you know, you have, you know, Daniel Day-Lewis just staring into nothingness for 30 seconds, and it could have been 15 seconds, making the film a bit shorter. But aside from that, I love pretty much everything about this film, and I'm going to give it an A. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned for my Oscar predictions video on Sunday. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you.